In my last step, I folded the upper edge down 1/2 of an inch, and I put the pins in perpendicular to the edge. I also used my little wooden iron to crease this along here. And now we're going to do the second fold. And you have to do this second fold. You can't stitch on it like this because this is a raw edge and these threads will come undone. So we have to fold it one more time. So I'm going to take all of these pins out because I know I have this measured accurately and pressed all the way across. And now what I'm going to do is fold it one more time. And I'm actually going to do it this way this time because I want to be able to put my pins in this way. So again, this time it says I need to make my measure 1 inch. So I'm going to move my seam gauge up to the 1 inch mark. Okay, so your little slider should be right where the 1 inch is. And I'm going to use the same pinning method. 2 ends first, middle, middle, middle. So I'm going to start down here and I measure every time. Again, it's easier to put your pins in if you come back towards you rather than away from you. So I got my first end. This little flap has to be tucked under when I'm doing this. Oh, it's got to be a little bit more than that. It's important that we measure every step of the way because we want it to be accurate all the way across the top. Oh, I didn't get through all the layers. Okay, now I'm going to do the middle. And I kind of guess to begin with, and then I move and make sure that it's accurately at 1 inch. Okay, so I have the 2 ends first, and then I'm going to do the, oh, this one's not quite right. I'm going to move it a little bit. There we go. 2 ends first, then middle, middle, middle. So I'm going to go halfway between these two. Measure. Pin. I'm going to measure again. Put another pin. Measure again. Another pin. Sometimes it's easier if you hold it up in your hand like so. And of course, if you're left-handed, you're going to reverse hands. Measure and pin. Only 2 more pins to go. Measure and pin. And then this should be our last one. Measure and pin. I'm still not happy with the way that's sitting right there, so I'm gonna see if I can remeasure that one and get it to lay a little flatter. Because I don't want this to be bubbly at all. I don't want it to be bent at all. This should be a parallel line all the way across the top here. So that's our pins, and this is ready to sew now. I'm going to count the pins so you know about how many you should have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You need at least 9, no more than 9. The more pins you put in, the more you have to take out when you're sewing because you can't sew over them. And it's easiest if you put the pin head towards the center of the piece on this particular sewing. Sometimes it's better if they're on the outside, but on this one, the pin head should be towards the center of the piece, not on the outside edge. And they should be perpendicular to this folded edge right here. And now we're ready to head to the sewing machine, learn how to thread it, do a sample seam, and then we'll be back to sew this as our first step on our bag.